Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the orbital station New Geneva, watching the stars through the massive viewing window. He had been commander of Earth's defense fleet for 3 years now, and every day brought new challenges. The year 2157 had been peaceful so far, with trade routes flowing smoothly between Earth's colonies on Mars and the Moon. Jake sipped his morning coffee and reviewed the daily reports from his officers when suddenly Lieutenant Lucy Adams burst through the door. "Commander, we have a problem," she said, breathing hard. "Long-range sensors are picking up massive objects at the edge of our solar system." Jake set down his coffee cup and followed Lucy to the command center. The main screen showed dots that looked like small specks, but the numbers below them made Jake's heart race. Each dot was the size of a small city, and there were dozens of them moving toward Earth. "How long before they reach us?" Jake asked. "Their current speed about 6 hours, sir," replied Lieutenant Adams. "But, sir, these ships are unlike anything we have ever seen. They appear to be made of some kind of crystal material, and they are not responding to our communication attempts." Dr. Lisa Bennett arrived at the command center just as Jake was trying to process this information. She was Earth's top expert on alien life and had been studying possible contact scenarios for years. Her face was pale as she looked at the sensor readings. "Jake, these energy signatures are completely foreign," she said, pointing at the screen. "Whatever these beings are, they have technology that is far beyond ours. The power output from just one of their ships equals our entire defense fleet." Admiral Sam Rodriguez joined them moments later. He was the head of Earth's military forces and had seen combat in the asteroid belt conflicts. His expression was grim as he studied the approaching fleet. "We need to alert all defense stations immediately," Sam said. "Every ship we have needs to be ready for whatever is coming." This does not look like a friendly visit. Jake ordered all communication channels to broadcast welcome messages in every language Earth knew, including mathematical sequences that any intelligent species should understand. For 2 hours they sent signals but received only silence in return. The alien ships continued their steady approach toward Earth. At noon, the silence was broken. Every screen on New Geneva flickered and then showed the image of a being that made everyone in the command center step back. The creature had pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer like metal. Its eyes were completely black, and it wore what looked like armor made of the same crystal material as their ships. "I am Supreme Admiral Keffer of the Zephyrian Empire," the being said in perfect English. "Your world has been selected for destruction to make way for our new colony. You have 72 hours to evacuate your planet before we begin bombardment." Dr. Bennett stepped forward. "We are peaceful beings and would like to discuss this with you. Perhaps we can find a solution that works for both our species." The alien's expression did not change. "There is nothing to discuss. Your species is primitive, and your planet will serve our needs better without you on it. Remove yourselves or be removed." The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Jake felt his mind racing as he tried to understand what had just happened. Earth had always prepared for the possibility of hostile alien contact, but the reality was more terrifying than any simulation. "Sam, what are our options?" Jake asked. Admiral Rodriguez pulled up tactical displays. "Not many, based on these readings. Their smallest ship has more firepower than our largest battleship. If we fight them directly, we will lose." Dr. Bennett was studying the alien transmission recording. "There is something strange about this Supreme Admiral. His skin has an artificial quality, and his movements seem too precise. I wonder if these beings are not entirely biological." Jake ordered all civilian populations to begin evacuation procedures, while Sam prepared every military asset Earth possessed. The next 72 hours would determine the fate of humanity. As Jake watched the alien fleet grow larger on the sensors, he noticed something odd. The ships were scanning Earth very carefully, but they seemed particularly interested in areas with lots of plant and animal life. "Lisa, look at this," Jake said, pointing to the scan patterns. "They are spending extra time examining our forests and oceans." Why would they care about our wildlife if they just want to destroy everything? Dr. Bennett studied the data and her eyes widened. You are right. These scans are incredibly detailed biological surveys. They are not just looking at our cities or military installations. They want to know everything about Earth's living systems. As the deadline approached, Jake realized that the Zephyrians might want Earth for reasons they had not yet revealed. The key to survival might be understanding. What made Earth so special to these crystal beings who claimed they only wanted to destroy it? The 72 hours passed like a nightmare. Jake Morrison watched from New Geneva as the Zephyrian fleet moved into attack position around Earth. Their crystal ships gleamed in the sunlight, looking beautiful and deadly at the same time. At exactly the promised moment the bombardment began, beams of pure energy lanced down from space, striking the protective shields that covered Earth's major cities. The shields held, but Jake could see they were weakening with each hit. Captain Ryan Bell led the first wave of Earth fighters against the alien fleet, but the results were devastating. The human ships were fast and agile, but their weapons barely scratched the crystal hulls of the enemy vessels. "We lost 12 fighters in the first attack run," Ryan reported over the radio. His voice was strained but determined. "Their shields absorb our plasma bolts like they are nothing. We need a new strategy." Dr. Lisa Bennett had been working without sleep since the aliens arrived, studying every piece of data they could gather about the Zephyrians. What she discovered changed everything they thought they knew about their enemies. "Jake, you need to see this," she called from her laboratory. "I have been analyzing the energy signatures from their ships and bodies. These beings are not biological at all. They are completely artificial synthetic life forms." Jake stared at the readings on her screen. "What does that mean for us?" "It means they have given up biological existence entirely," Lisa explained. "Look at these scans. Their bodies are made of the same crystal technology as their ships. They have no organic components whatsoever. They are living machines." Major Kate Sullivan was coordinating civilian evacuations when the first city shield failed. New Tokyo's protective barrier collapsed under sustained bombardment, and crystal beams began striking buildings. Kate ordered immediate evacuation to the underground bunkers as the city above ground was systematically destroyed. "All civilian transports to emergency bunkers now," she commanded over the communication system. "This is not a drill. The surface is no longer safe." General Paul Carter watched his military forces being slowly overwhelmed by superior technology. Earth's best weapons could not penetrate Zephyrian shields, while their crystal beams cut through human armor like paper. Every battle was a desperate retreat as human forces fell back to more defensible positions. The strange thing was that the aliens seemed to avoid certain areas completely. Dr. Bennett noticed that the Zephyrians never attacked near major forests, national parks, or areas with high concentrations of wildlife. When she brought this to Jake's attention, they began to see a pattern. "Look at this attack map," Lisa said, spreading the data across the main screen. "They have completely avoided the Amazon rainforest, Yellowstone National Park, the Great Barrier Reef, and dozens of other biological hotspots. They only attack cities and industrial areas." Jake studied the pattern. "Maybe they want to preserve Earth's ecosystem for their colony. That is what I thought at first," Lisa replied. "But watch what happens when our ships retreat near these areas." She showed him footage from Captain Bell's latest mission. His squadron had been fleeing from Zephyrian pursuers when they passed over the Congo Basin. Suddenly, the alien ships stopped following and turned away. "They are not just avoiding these areas," Lisa continued. "They are afraid of them. Something about Earth's biological systems is making them keep their distance." Ryan Bell had noticed the same thing during combat. "Every time we get close to a forest or jungle, the aliens break off pursuit," he reported. "At first I thought it was a coincidence, but it happens every time." Dr. Bennett worked frantically to understand why synthetic beings would fear biological areas. She ran every test she could think of while the war raged around them. Cities fell one by one as the Zephyrian advance continued, but the aliens maintained their strange avoidance of natural areas. Sullivan discovered something important while evacuating refugees from destroyed cities. The people hiding in natural caves and forest bunkers are reporting something strange, she told Jake. Their electronic equipment is working better than normal. Communication devices have stronger signals and power systems are more efficient. This information sparked a new theory in Dr. Bennett's mind. What if Earth's biological systems are not just being avoided by the aliens, she said. What if they are actively interfering with Zephyrian technology? Jake authorized a test mission. Captain Bell took a small squadron into the heart of the Amazon rainforest where sensors showed the highest concentration of biological activity. The results were extraordinary. Human ships performed better than they ever had before while any Zephyrian vessel that came within 50 kilometers experienced system failures. Our engines are running at 120% efficiency, Ryan reported in amazement. All systems are operating beyond normal parameters, but everything is stable. Dr. Bennett finally understood what was happening. The synthetic Zephyrians have evolved beyond biology, but they have lost something crucial in the process, she explained to Jake. Earth's living systems generate quantum patterns that their artificial technology cannot handle. We are not just fighting for our lives, we are fighting with weapons they cannot counter. General Carter immediately began repositioning his forces near biological preserves. For the first time since the war began, human forces started winning battles. The Zephyrians found their supposedly superior technology failing in Earth's natural environments while human equipment grew stronger. But this discovery came with a terrible realization. The aliens were not just trying to conquer Earth, they were trying to destroy the very thing that could save their own failing civilization. The war had become a race to see whether humanity could learn to use Earth's biological advantages before the Zephyrians destroyed them all. Jake Morrison led a small research team deep into the Amazon rainforest, where Dr. Lisa Bennett believed they would find answers to the Zephyrian mystery. The jungle was alive with sounds of birds, insects, and monkeys, while overhead the crystal ships of their enemies kept a careful distance. Something about this place made the powerful aliens afraid. Corporal Danny Brooks was a young engineer who had volunteered for the dangerous mission. He carried sensitive equipment designed to measure the quantum fields that Dr. Bennett believed were the key to understanding Earth's defense against the Zephyrians. As they moved deeper into the forest, his instruments began showing readings unlike anything he had ever seen. "Dr. Bennett, you need to look at this," Danny said, stopping beside a massive tree covered in vines and flowers. The quantum activity around this tree is off the charts. It is like the entire forest is singing in frequencies we cannot hear. Lisa examined the readings with growing excitement. For weeks, she had theorized that Earth's biological systems were generating some kind of interference that disrupted Zephyrian technology. Now she was seeing proof. Every living thing around them was contributing to a complex pattern of quantum vibrations that filled the air like an invisible symphony. Lieutenant Lucy Adams had been monitoring Zephyrian communications from her position back at New Geneva. She reported something strange happening to the alien fleet. "Commander, their ships are maintaining a 50-kilometer perimeter around your location," she told Jake over the radio. "Any vessel that gets closer starts experiencing system failures." Jake watched as a small Zephyrian scout ship approached the edge of the forest. As soon as it crossed into the area where the trees were thickest, the ship began to wobble in the air. Its crystal hull flickered and dimmed before the vessel quickly retreated to a safe distance. "Whatever is happening here, they cannot handle it," Jake observed. "But our equipment is working better than ever." Dr. Bennett was making measurements throughout the forest when she discovered something that changed everything. The quantum patterns were not random. They were incredibly complex and organized like a vast biological computer processing information at speeds that rivaled the most advanced artificial systems. "Danny, look at these readings," she said, pointing to her scanner. "The forest is not just generating quantum noise. It is creating organized patterns that interact with each other. Every tree, every animal, every microorganism is part of a massive biological network. Corporal Brooks studied the data with amazement. It is like the entire ecosystem is one giant quantum computer. But what is it computing? The answer came when they tested human technology within the forest. Their communication devices operated with perfect clarity. Power systems ran at incredible efficiency. Even simple tools seemed to work better than normal. The biological quantum network was somehow enhancing anything that was compatible with life while disrupting systems that were purely artificial. Admiral Sam Rodriguez had been fighting a losing battle against the Zephyrian fleet when he received orders to retreat to Madagascar. The island nation had one of Earth's most diverse biological preserves, and Dr. Bennett wanted to test her theories on a larger scale. When Sam's remaining ships reached the coastal waters around Madagascar, something extraordinary happened. All ships report perfect system operation, Sam announced over the fleet communication channel. Engine efficiency is up 30% across the board. Our sensors are detecting targets at twice their normal range. What is happening here? Dr. Bennett explained her discovery to the assembled commanders. Earth's biological diversity creates quantum field patterns that are toxic to purely synthetic life forms like the Zephyrians. But these same patterns enhance technology that is designed to work with biological systems. Human technology evolved alongside biological life, so it benefits from these quantum fields. Jake began to understand the full scope of what they had discovered. The Zephyrians are not just avoiding Earth's ecosystems because they want to preserve them. They are avoiding them because those areas can kill them. Lieutenant Adams confirmed this theory when she intercepted Zephyrian communications. The aliens were reporting system failures, equipment malfunctions, and even physical deterioration when they approached areas with high biological activity. Their synthetic bodies were breaking down in Earth's quantum field environment. Captain Ryan Bell tested the discovery during his next combat mission. He led his squadron directly over the Congo Basin while being pursued by Zephyrian fighters. As soon as they entered the jungle airspace, the human ships began performing like they had been upgraded with new technology. Meanwhile, the pursuing aliens fell behind as their systems struggled to function properly. "This is incredible," Ryan reported. "Our ships are faster, stronger, and more maneuverable than I have ever seen them. The aliens cannot keep up with us here." Dr. Bennett realized they had found more than just a way to defend Earth. They had discovered that the planet's biological systems were a form of technology that surpassed anything the Zephyrians had created. Millions of years of evolution had produced quantum computing systems that made artificial intelligence look primitive, but the discovery came with a terrible understanding. The Zephyrians had not come to Earth by accident. Their synthetic civilization was failing because they had abandoned the biological quantum systems that made advanced life possible. They needed Earth's ecosystems to save themselves, but their pride and fear had driven them to try conquest instead of cooperation. Major Kate Sullivan coordinated the establishment of bioquantum research stations throughout Earth's remaining wilderness areas. Each station was equipped with Danny's modified sensors to study and eventually amplify the natural quantum fields. For the first time since the invasion began, humanity had hope. "If we can understand how these biological quantum systems work," Dr. Bennett explained to Jake, "we might be able to turn Earth into a fortress that the Zephyrians cannot approach. But more than that, we might be able to offer them something they desperately need." Jake looked out at the forest around them where human technology thrived while alien systems failed. The war was about to change in ways that neither species had expected. Earth's greatest strength was not its weapons or its warriors, but the living systems that covered the planet like a protective embrace. Dia Lisa Bennett worked day and night to develop quantum amplifiers that could boost the biological signatures of Earth's ecosystems. Her laboratory on New Geneva had become the center of humanity's most important research project. Corporal Danny Brooks helped her build devices that could take the natural quantum patterns from forests and jungles and make them stronger and wider reaching. If we can amplify these biological quantum fields, Lisa explained to Jake Morrison, we can turn them into weapons that will disable Zephyrian technology from a distance. The first test took place in the Amazon rainforest, where they installed a prototype amplifier near the largest concentration of biological activity. When Danny activated the device, the quantum field that had previously extended 50 kilometers suddenly reached over 200 kilometers. Any Zephyrian ship that entered this expanded zone immediately began experiencing critical system failures. Captain Ryan Bell volunteered to test the new bioquantum drives that D.R. Bennett had developed for human spacecraft. These drives used the same quantum patterns that made Earth's ecosystem so powerful, but channeled them through ship systems designed to work with biological technology. The results exceeded everyone's expectations. "Control, this is Bell reporting," Ryan said from his modified fighter. "The bioquantum drive is performing beyond all projections. I have just outrun a Zephyrian interceptor that should have been twice as fast as my ship." Their pursuit craft suffered complete engine failure when I led them into the amplified quantum zone. Jake watched the tactical display as Ryan's squadron engaged a full Zephyrian attack group near the Amazon amplifier. For the first time since the war began, human forces were not just surviving against the aliens, they were winning decisively. The crystal ships that had seemed invincible were now fleeing from areas where Earth's biological quantum fields had been enhanced. Admiral Sam Rodriguez coordinated the installation of amplifiers at biological preserves around the globe. Each device created a zone of enhanced quantum activity that boosted human technology while causing Zephyrian equipment to malfunction. The network of amplified zones began to overlap, creating corridors where human forces could operate with tremendous advantages. Sergeant Tony Washington led ground forces equipped with portable bioquantum generators. These smaller devices could create temporary safe zones where human soldiers could operate with enhanced equipment while Zephyrian forces found their weapons and armor failing. Tony's unit achieved victories that had seemed impossible just weeks before. "The portable generators are working perfectly," Tony reported from a battle near the Yellowstone Preserve. "Zephyrian ground forces are retreating as soon as we activate the quantum field. Their crystal armor just stops working and their weapons lose power." Supreme Admiral Keffer watched his forces suffer defeat after defeat as Earth's biological quantum network expanded. His synthetic body was beginning to show signs of degradation from prolonged exposure to the quantum fields that surrounded the planet. The crystalline structure of his form was developing cracks and his movements were becoming less precise. Dr. Bennett monitored Zephyrian communications and discovered that the aliens were experiencing problems throughout their fleet. Ships that had operated perfectly for centuries were now breaking down. Crew members were reporting system failures, personality disorders, and physical deterioration. The synthetic beings were slowly falling apart in Earth's quantum-charged environment. "Jake, look at these intercepts," Lisa said, showing him the latest intelligence. "The Zephyrians are not just losing battles, they are losing the ability to function as a civilization. Their technology is breaking down faster than they can repair it." The turning point came when Captain Bell led a strike force against the Zephyrian command ship. Using bioquantum-enhanced fighters, his squadron penetrated defenses that should have been impenetrable. The alien flagship found its shields failing, its weapons misfiring, and its crew unable to coordinate an effective response. Lieutenant Lucy Adams coordinated the global bioquantum network from her command center on New Geneva. Each amplifier station reported to her, allowing humanity to create quantum barriers that could stop Zephyrian advances or corridors that allow human forces to attack with overwhelming advantages. Earth was becoming a fortress powered by its own life force. "We have amplifiers online at 47 biological preserves," Lucy reported. "The quantum field network now covers 60% of Earth's surface. Zephyrian forces are being pushed back to areas with minimal biological activity." Jake realized that the war had fundamentally changed. Human forces were no longer desperately defending against superior technology. They were hunting the aliens who had come to destroy their world. The Zephyrians found themselves trapped in a shrinking area of space around Earth where their technology could still function, but Dr. Bennett was troubled by what she observed in the captured Zephyrian equipment. Jake, these systems are incredibly sophisticated, but they are also dying, she told him. The synthetic technology that makes the Zephyrians so powerful is also making them vulnerable to biological quantum fields. They have evolved themselves into a dead-end. Major Kate Sullivan established refugee camps in the bioquantum enhanced zones, where human survivors could live safely while their technology operated at peak efficiency. Children played with toys that worked better than they had been designed to, while adults marveled at how perfectly everything functioned in the quantum-charged environment. The final push came when Admiral Rodriguez led the enhanced Earth fleet against the main Zephyrian force. Human ships powered by bioquantum drives moved like they were alive, dodging crystal beam weapons that seemed sluggish in comparison. The battle that had once seemed hopeless became a rout as alien vessels fled or surrendered. All Zephyrian ships are retreating beyond the orbit of the moon, Sam reported. They cannot operate effectively anywhere near Earth now. The bioquantum network has made our planet completely hostile to their technology. Supreme Admiral Kepler watched his empire's greatest fleet limping away from a primitive world that had somehow become more dangerous than any weapon they had ever faced. His own body was failing as the quantum patterns that gave Earth life slowly destroyed the synthetic systems that kept him alive. For the first time in his long existence, he began to understand that his people had made a terrible mistake. Dear Lisa Bennett stood on the deck of the research vessel Pacific Hope, studying the wreckage of a Zephyrian ship that had crashed into the ocean 3 days earlier. The crystal hull was partially dissolved by seawater, but the crew compartment remained intact. Inside was a single alien survivor who had been calling for help and increasingly desperate. Transmissions. Captain Veltar was unlike any Zephyrian they had encountered before. His synthetic body showed signs of severe damage with cracks running through his crystalline skin and his black eyes flickering with unstable energy patterns. When Dr. Bennett approached his medical pod, he spoke in perfect English, but his voice was weak and distorted. "Please," Veltar said, looking directly at Lisa. "I know you have no reason to help me, but I must speak with your leaders. There are things about this war that you do not understand." Jake Morrison arrived on the ship within hours, accompanied by Admiral Sam Rodriguez and Lieutenant Lucy Adams. They were prepared for another attempt at Zephyrian deception, but what they found was a being whose synthetic body was slowly failing in Earth's bioquantum environment. "Why should we trust anything you say?" Jake asked. "Your people came here to destroy us." Veltar struggled to sit up in his medical pod. "Because my people are dying, and yours are the only ones who can save us. We did not come to Earth for conquest. We came here because we are desperate." Dr. Bennett had been monitoring Veltar's vital signs since his rescue. His synthetic body was unlike anything in human medical knowledge, but she could see that he was telling the truth about dying. The bioquantum fields that enhanced human technology were slowly breaking down the artificial systems that kept him alive. "Tell us what you mean," Lisa said gently. "What are your people desperate for?" Veltar's story changed everything they thought they knew about the Zephyrian Empire. Thousands of years ago, his people had been biological beings like humans, but they had chosen to abandon organic life in favor of synthetic perfection. The transformation had given them incredible technology and seemingly immortal bodies, but it had also created an unexpected problem. "We thought we were evolving beyond the limitations of biology," Veltar explained. "But we discovered too late that biological systems create quantum patterns that are essential for advanced technology to function properly. Without these patterns, our civilization began to decay. The Zephyrian Empire was slowly failing. Their perfect synthetic bodies were breaking down after centuries of use. Their technology was becoming unreliable. Their ability to create new innovations had stopped completely. They had reached the end of their technological development and were now facing extinction. We have searched the galaxy for biological worlds that could provide the quantum patterns we need, Veltar continued. Earth is the first planet we found with biological systems complex enough to stabilize our technology. But our leaders decided that conquest would be easier than cooperation. Admiral Rodriguez leaned forward. You're saying that you need our biological systems to survive. More than survive, Veltar replied. We need them to continue existing. Without exposure to biological quantum patterns, our bodies will break down completely within the next few decades. Our entire civilization will cease to exist. Dr. Bennett realized the terrible irony of the situation. The Zephyrians had come to destroy the very thing that could save them. Their fear and pride had driven them to choose war instead of asking for help from the beings they considered primitive. Jake made a decision that surprised everyone, including himself. What if we could work together instead of fighting? Earth's biological systems could help stabilize your technology, while your knowledge could help us explore the galaxy. Veltar's eyes brightened for the first time since his rescue. You would consider cooperation after what we have done to your world. Not all of us would agree to it, Jake admitted. But continuing this war will destroy both our civilizations. Your people are dying, and ours are suffering from your attacks. There has to be a better way. Lieutenant Adams had been monitoring Zephyrian communications throughout the conversation. Commander, I am detecting massive activity in the alien fleet. It appears they are preparing for some kind of major operation. Veltar's expression became alarmed. Kepha must be planning to use the planet-killer weapon. You would rather destroy Earth's biosphere and admit that we need your help. His pride will doom both our species. Dr. Bennett felt her heart sink. What is a planet-killer weapon? A device that can sterilize an entire world, Veltar explained. It would destroy all biological life on Earth, including the quantum patterns we need. Kepha believes that if we cannot have Earth, then no one should. Jake immediately contacted all Earth Defense Forces. The Zephyrians were preparing for one final devastating attack that would destroy the planet's ability to support life. Every bio-quantum amplifier, every enhanced human ship, and every soldier who had learned to fight with Earth's biological advantages would need to unite for the ultimate battle. Admiral Rodriguez began coordinating the defense while Dr. Bennett worked with Veltar to understand Zephyrian technology well enough to counter their planet-killer weapon. The alien captain's condition was improving slightly as exposure to Earth bio-quantum fields began stabilizing his failing systems. There is something you must understand, Veltar told them. The bio-quantum fields that your planet generates are not just affecting our technology. They are healing our bodies. For the first time in centuries, I feel truly alive, Captain Ryan Bell reported from his enhanced fighter squadron. All ships ready for final battle, Commander. The bio-quantum drives are operating at maximum efficiency. We have never been stronger. Jake looked out at the ocean where Zephyrian ships were gathering for their final assault. The next few hours would determine whether two civilizations would destroy each other or find a way to survive together. The choice lay with beings who had forgotten how to live and beings who were just learning how powerful life could be. The final battle began at dawn as Supreme Admiral Kepha's massive flagship emerged from behind the moon. The planet-killer weapon was visible as a crystalline structure extending from the ship's hull that pulsed with deadly energy. Jake Morrison watched from the bridge of New Geneva as every human ship moved to intercept, while Captain Veltar worked desperately to help them understand Zephyrian technology. The planet-killer charges by drawing energy from all ships in the fleet. Veltar explained as his synthetic body continued to heal in Earth's bio-quantum field. If we can separate the flagship from its support vessels, the weapon will not have enough power to fire. Captain Ryan Bell led the enhanced human fighter squadrons in a desperate attack on the Zephyrian support ships. His bio-quantum power craft moved like living things through space, dodging crystal beam weapons and striking with precision that amazed even the aliens. Lieutenant Lucy Adams coordinated the global bio-quantum amplifier network to create corridors of enhanced space where human ships could operate at. Maximum Efficiency. Admiral Sam Rodriguez commanded the main fleet assault while Dr. Lisa Bennett worked with Corporal Danny Brooks to modify the bioquantum amplifiers for space combat. They had discovered that the same biological patterns that enhance human technology could be projected beyond Earth's atmosphere to create zones where Zephyrian systems would fail. Bioquantum field projection is online, Danny reported from his modified station. We can create enhancement zones throughout near-Earth space. The battle was unlike anything either species had ever experienced. Human ships powered by Earth's life force fought against crystal vessels that had once seemed invincible. But as the bioquantum fields reached into space, the Zephyrian ships began experiencing the same failures that had driven them away from Earth surface. Major Kate Sullivan coordinated ground-based support as Lieutenant Adams activated every bioquantum amplifier on the planet simultaneously. The combined output created a wave of biological quantum energy that swept through the space around Earth like an invisible tide. Zephyrian ships caught in the wave found their systems shutting down while human vessels became faster and more powerful than ever before. Sergeant Tony Washington led boarding parties onto disabled Zephyrian ships using portable quantum generators to maintain their advantage in close combat. What they found surprised them. Many Zephyrian crew members were not fighting, but were instead experiencing something they had not felt in centuries. Their synthetic bodies were beginning to heal and stabilize in the enhanced quantum fields. Commander, we have Zephyrian personnel requesting to surrender, Tony reported. They say they want to join our forces. Captain Veltar had convinced several ships in his former fleet to switch sides. These converted vessels joined the human attack on the flagship while their crews experienced the healing effects of bioquantum exposure. For the first time in thousands of years, Zephyrian synthetic beings were becoming stable and healthy. The planet killer weapon continued charging despite the losses to the support fleet. Supreme Admiral Keffer refused all attempts at communication and seemed determined to destroy Earth even if it meant dooming his own species. The massive crystal structure on his flagship glowed brighter as it prepared to fire. Dr. Bennett made a desperate decision. Jake, I'm going to overload every bioquantum amplifier on Earth simultaneously. The quantum waves should reach the flagship and disable the planet killer, but the feedback might destroy our entire network. Do it, Jake said without hesitation. If that weapon fires, there will be no Earth left to protect. The overload began as every biological preserve on Earth contributed its quantum signature to a massive pulse of life energy. Forests, jungles, oceans, and even the smallest ecosystems joined together in a planetary-scale demonstration of biological quantum harmony. The wave that erupted from Earth was visible to the naked eye as a shimmering distortion that swept through space. When the bioquantum tsunami reached the flagship, something extraordinary happened. Instead of simply disabling the planet killer, the energy began healing Supreme Admiral Keffer himself. His synthetic body, which had been deteriorated for centuries, suddenly began to repair itself. Cracks in his crystalline skin sealed. His flickering eyes became bright and steady. For the first time in millennia, he felt truly alive. The planet killer weapon powered down as Keffer realized what was happening to him. The biological quantum patterns that he had feared and tried to destroy were giving him back something he had lost when his people abandoned organic life. He was becoming whole again. All ships stand down, Keffer transmitted to his fleet. The humans offer us something far more valuable than conquest. They offer us life itself. 5 years later, Jake Morrison stood in the Garden Observatory of Bioquantum Research Station 1, watching Earth and its newest moon. The former Zephyrian flagship had been converted into a joint research facility where human and alien scientists worked together to understand biological quantum harmony. Dr. Bennett directed the galaxy's most advanced biological research program. Zephyrian synthetic beings who had once been warriors now spent their time studying Earth's ecosystems and learning to appreciate the complex beauty of organic life. Captain Veltar had become Admiral of Biorestoration, overseeing the healing of dead worlds throughout former Zephyrian space. The irony still amazes me, Lisa said to Jake, as they watched a group of Zephyrian children playing in an Earth-style garden. These young synthetic beings had been born after the war and had never known a life without biological quantum harmony. They came to destroy us, and now they cannot survive without us. Captain, Bell led joint exploration fleets into deep space, seeking other worlds that could benefit from biological quantum restoration. The combination of human understanding of organic life and Zephyrian technology had created ships that could travel farther and faster than either species had achieved alone. Major Sullivan now coordinated the integration of former Zephyrian territories into the new Galactic Bio-Alliance. Millions of synthetic beings were learning to live alongside biological systems for the first time. Many reported that they felt more alive and creative than they had in centuries. Admiral Rodriguez had retired from military service to become director of the Galactic Peace Corps. Former enemies now worked together to spread biological quantum harmony to worlds that had been damaged by synthetic technology or natural disasters. Supreme Admiral Keffer, who now called himself simply Kef, had become one of Earth's most dedicated protectors. His body had been completely healed by prolonged exposure to bio-quantum fields, and he often said that humans had given him back his soul. The greatest discovery was that biological quantum harmony was not limited to Earth. When properly nurtured, any world could develop the complex quantum patterns that enhanced technology and healed synthetic beings. The galaxy was full of potential that had been ignored by civilizations that focus only on artificial advancement. Jake often walked through the forests of Earth marveling at how the trees and animals around him had become the foundation of an interstellar civilization. What had started as humanity's desperate fight for survival had become the greatest cooperation between species in galactic history. The beings who had once wanted Earth's destruction now depended on its life for their very existence.